Good morning. I'm downtown Logan Brown,
I'm Braden.
and this is the Pickleball Effect Podcast.
Welcome to this week's episode. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you all. On the docket today, we have the new MLP PPA schedule that was announced. They're doing a lot of things different next year, and there's some interesting pieces we want to pull from that and talk about. Then we're going to talk about the winners and losers of MLP. And then, of course, we got some paddle babble. There's always paddle news. And then we're going to finish with our 3-0 to 5-0 segment. We're going to talk drops and drives.
I'm excited. Let's play some pickleball. All right, Braden, you saw the release of this new schedule?
Yeah, dude, I did. I was digging through it, and they changed a lot. I was surprised. I didn't know what I didn't even think that they were going to do anything different, but they did.
They did. I mean, everyone was complaining that it was taking too long. They were nervous about this merger, but they took some time in consideration, it seems like, and some thought into it. And we have our first official PPA and MLP combined tour, I suppose.
Yeah. So it's a total of 34 events is what they're doing. There's going to be some weekends where they have MLP and PPA events combined, but mostly, and then of course just all the PPA weekends. But walk us through that, Logan. Tell us what they're changing and how things are going to happen next year.
Yeah. So we're kicking off really early. We'll finish this year, I think, in the first or second week of December. And then we're headed right back to California, January 10th, right?
Yeah,
so
not
players
much
will get like 4 weeks off. We'll do 2 PPAs, and then we'll jump into an MLP and PPA combined. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think, so not that this has changed much, but I think what they're going to make more apparent this year, it sounds like, is the difference between slams, cups, and opens. So in the past, they've always done, every tournament has a different point system. You and I talked on a previous podcast about like the $10,000 prize for doubles. The $10,000 was for like the max points type of tournament. Right. And I'm sure we'll see that again this year. The more points, the more prize money.
Worth more points, more prize money. Did they have that same? Well, I know they had like the tiered system, but did they call them slams, cups, and opens, or is that new this year?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I felt like they did it, but it was kind of like really under the radar.
It wasn't like advertised.
Yeah,
they're definitely pushing that more with the schedule. I feel like they're pointing out like we have slam events, then there's cups, and then there's opens, and that's the tier. Slams are the top, opens are the bottom.
Yeah. So do you remember when they did like the Masters where everybody wore white?
Yeah.
I think that was supposed to be like one of their like, I don't know, that might have been like the slam. Yeah, like one of the top ones. And so, yeah, slams being worth 2,000 points, cups at 1,500, and opens at 1,000. And so what they're telling us, and it's similar to this year, I think a lot of people you and I were also like, I'm not sure what's going on with this, but there is a PPA finals coming up like November 30th through
for this year,
and it is based on points, and it's pretty confusing about like how partners are chosen. It's not like you just bring the same partners you've always played with, unless you've won, of course, with them, like Ben and Colin Johns, or
right? Because you qualify for the event,
right?
But it's based off of individual points, not off of like team points,
right?
So
it's not
gets
like
kind of weird and confusing.
Total. Yeah, so someone like James Ignatowicz, right, who changed around, or Matt Wright, who's been changing around, something like that. Like he'll have to pick a partner of sorts. But yeah, so all these, say again,
or get picked, right?
Or get picked. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, yeah, all these points will lead up to a PPA Tour finals. So we have it this year. They'll have it next year. And I imagine they're going to promote the points way more heavily. And so all the fans can understand, what's happening here. And oh yeah, this is kind of, I mean, I guess this is always happening, but I guess so that everybody understands, like they are promoting the fact that every PPA event will also be an amateur event. So it's like, come play where the pros play, and they're going to keep that going. So it's not like we're MLP where you just show up and there's no way to play as an amateur. It's
MLP will still be that way, like the MLP only weekend.
Yeah, the only MLP only event of the weekend, or the week rather. I think some of the biggest changes from, of course, MLP combined now, from what we've read and what we know so far, it seems like Challenger and Premier are going away.
Yep. Out the window. Doing a season.
Yeah. So it's going to be 24 total teams, just like an NFL, just like the ML, or just like an NBA. And they're going to split this up into 6 divisions of 4 teams
So
each.
2023, nothing, dude. Worthless for MLP. What was the point of it?
Yeah. I mean,
starting over.
I think it'll be interesting too, though, like these managers and GMs, I think at the very least what this has done is helped us and them understand what a draft should look like. Where do we pick? How do we pick? Because this should help. I would imagine this hasn't been announced yet, but I would imagine we're going to see another draft because we can't just
they would have
the
to
worst teams against the top teams. Yeah.
Right.
But it'll be really cool to see like who they bring from where, because when it's not about this premier and challenger level anymore, and you're either the first pick or you're the 24th pick at this point, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually nervous about this. So with there being 24 teams, so they're doing this season style, like I wonder if this dilutes the product and the teams, because there's a pretty big discrepancy between the premier and challenger level, like ability wise right now. And if you have to mix those two pools, like, are the teams really going to be that good and fun to watch as they are now in the Premier Division? Because if you get a Ben Johns with like a 24th and like a 50th pick, like he's not going to be surrounded by much talent.
That's a great point. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking, is basically he'll be at the first pick and then he'll be at like his next teammate will be at the 48th or 9th pick, right?
Is that what it would be? Like, that's just like everyone's gone by then.
I'm not sure who you'd have to play with.
These teams are going to be so wonky, and I think it won't be as fun to watch, because Ben's going to just have to overextend himself to try to cover more ground. They're going to be isolating these there's going to be like two, like the third and fourth person on each team is going to be like significantly weaker than the first two. And so like it's almost like a battle of who can isolate those weaker players better when you're playing them, and like you're beating the weaker person. You're not beating Ben.
Yeah, what else I thought of this weekend too is that Ben went 5-7 over the weekend, so not the best outing.
He lost a lot. Yeah,
yeah. But I also thought about too. So Ben and Annalee didn't make it to the finals again, right? And Annalee's team didn't even make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, Annalee's team didn't make it to the playoffs, but Ben did make it to the semis.
Yeah. But I was just thinking too, like, it's so much different than a sport like basketball or football, where like, let's say your best player was the quarterback in football, like they're always on the field on offense, right? Mm-hmm. Ben is not always on the court.
Yeah, he's only there 50% of the time.
Right. So even if you have the best player in the world, you have to go and win the 2 times he's on the court. You'd have to.
And if he doesn't, then you're toast.
Yeah.
Like you lose.
Yep. So anyway, I'm with you. I would second your concern about the draft, and there's not enough talent out there. It's not like the NBA or the NFL at this point. But I mean, like always, let's try it out and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, down the road, like I think 3-4 years from now, that'll probably fill in and it'll be a different story. But for these first 2-3 years, like could be rough.
Yeah, agreed. So let's talk some more changes. I'll stay with MLP, then jump to PPA.
Okay.
So with MLP, we're going to actually have these 2 kind of big events at the end. So we're going to have a mid-season tournament. So this is going to be like right after July 4th weekend, and it's going to be 4 days where all 24 teams are involved. And I imagine just like a single elimination bracket. And there's going to be some sort of like champion prize money awarded there. But then there's going to be a season ending, similar to what we've seen before, a season ending MLP playoffs. Now, you and I were talking off camera about what this could mean. They say it's going to take place over 2 4-day weekends. That's 8 full days of pickleball. It's at the end of the season. You would think in your head, like, this has to be like the winners of each division. But if it's going to be 8 days, I wonder if it's going to be a massive bracket with seedings.
Yeah. So like the only purpose of the season is not to qualify for the event. It's just for seedings, it seems like, because when I think of a playoffs, right? Like when I look at other sports, it's the division the Division 1 seed that came out of the season, but that doesn't seem like the case here, which seems. But
do you think it's possible they do it like the NBA, where maybe they make it where it's like best of 7, right? So you play MLP format.
Oh, so you have the 6 people that come in but do a best of 7 series
or something. Like, I wonder if they'll change that up and like just try to make it a more prolonged event. Like, so 2 teams will battle it out, best of 5, best of 7.
That actually would be pretty cool, because with the like variety of teams you're going to get, the results are probably going to vary from day to day. Like, Ben may have lost in the semis today, but maybe they win, the next day if they played again. So that would actually be fascinating. They do like a best of 5 or 7 series with just the top 6 seeds from each division. That would, I like that idea. That sounds more fun to me than
maybe they're going to work that out
tournament style.
Yeah, we'll see. That could be fun. The other part it's coming up here at Nationals, this is going to be a change at Nationals, and it's going to be a change in next year, is what they call a progressive bracket schedule. So Braden, what's a progressive bracket schedule?
Yeah, so this is fascinating. So they're going to start on Wednesdays instead of Thursdays. And what they're going to do is play all a round of 62 events on Wednesday for every event. So singles, mixed, gender doubles, round of 64. Everyone plays that one match Wednesday. If you win, you stay and play Thursday, which is round of 32, Friday 16, Saturdays, or anyways, it just works its way up, right? To championship Sunday. So they're going to play one. They're going to work through the rounds rather than just doing all the matches in one day and doing different events each day. So it'll be all events every day, just that round. And so they'll be doing that for slams and cups. They'll be using that progressive style or format. And then for the opens, they're going to keep the traditional, just one event per day, like what they're doing now. And so this will be interesting too, because this will change up, how these work out. Because like I know Ben in particular is known for kind of warming up and getting better as the day goes on.
Yeah.
And this kind of strips that away from him. Like he has to be sharp from game one rather than kind of working his way into the day. And so this is fascinating. And then you're playing different events during the day, which I don't know if that really will affect much, but I do think like momentum and how you're feeling and playing in that day matters, because some people will have a great day and a great run. Like sometimes we'll see random people, maybe not random, but less known people make a run in singles, like because they're playing well that day. Yeah. And they make an appearance on Championship Sunday or something, but you have to be more consistent day in and day out rather than just feeling good for the day. And so this changes things. And this is how tennis does it, right? Like they have the progressive format.
For sure. I mean, yeah, I guess you could, yes, that's how they do it. I think but in tennis, you're not playing 3 different events normally. Right. So it'll be interesting to see if the fans can keep up, but we'll see it this week, right? So I think Nationals starts on Tuesday. As far as,
did you look that up? Are we 100% sure they're doing progressive style for Nationals?
Yeah. Hold on,
because that's new to me. I didn't know they were doing that.
I was pretty sure I read this.
Yeah, I looked that up, but that'd be fascinating. So that means they'll start the pro events on Wednesday this week for Nationals. But speaking of Nationals, while you're looking that up, so I guess before we jump to the Nationals, let's just talk MLP for a second, kind of the winners and losers there. Well, I guess we're not quite done with the schedule. Should we stick with the schedule? I'm just rambling while you're trying to look this up. It's not worth it.
That's okay. I'm trying to find it.
Because there are some other schedule things that I think are worth mentioning. One is on the MLP and PPA weekends that are combined. They're going to double up on the weekends. So they're going to do the MLP event the weekend before, and then the PPA event the following weekend. So those will be long weeks for the players. It turns that 34-week schedule. It makes it feel a lot longer. They'll be traveling, living out of rentals more often, which is never fun. But we're going to see a lot of that. But I think that's the gist of what they're doing change-wise on the schedule.
Yeah. So I found the headline. Progression draw to make pro pickleball debut at national championships.
The debut, here it is.
The BioFreeze USA Pickleball National Championships, powered by Invited, blah, 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 is already gearing up to be a historic event. It will also feature this format for the first time at the pro level. So just like you said, each competitor will play one match per event per day. So
if this is the introduction of it, I wonder if they plan to do this the rest of the year or if it's just this one, like they're just trying it out.
Yeah, well, I think there's only one more, right? That's a good question too.
Is there just the finals left in December?
I'm about to tell you.
Tell us.
Nope, we got Daytona as well. So Dallas, Daytona, then we have the finals, but the finals won't be everyone, I don't think. I think it's
right.
Just,
yeah, you have to qualify for that one.
Yeah, so I think it's the top 8 men and women is what I read for that. So yeah, this would be exciting. I think nationals will be packed. I mean, MLP today had a good crowd. And I really like the double-decker VIP thing that looks pretty sweet from certain camera angles.
Yeah, I know nationals in particular, like there's a ton of amateurs signed up. So I imagine people will fill the stands as they get kicked out of their tournaments.
Yeah. I think it'll be a spectacle. Maybe next year they'll invite us, huh?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Maybe I'll be as good as you next year and we can just play together.
Yeah, let's just go win it, dude.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm about it. All right, bro.
All right, rambling enough about MLP.
Well, I mean, let's just talk results real quick for MLP. So,
let's do that.
For those who missed it, we had a repeat in the finals. It was DC versus the Orlando Squeeze. So DC had the Kawamotos, Riley Newman, and Christian Alshon versus the Squeeze, which was Daescu, Navratil, Rohrabacher, and Anna Bright. So Orlando Squeeze won the last event. This time it was DC that won, and they flushed them, dude. They win in 3. Orlando never won a match. So it started off with the ladies. The Kawamotos just squashed them. I believe it was 21-15, and then Newman and Alshon just embarrassed Navratil and Daescu and won 21-10. And then Newman and so this is what happened last time, right?
Yeah.
So the previous MLP, DC went up 2-0. They ended up losing the 2 mixed and then lost in the Dreambreaker. So this time around, they changed up a little bit. They put Riley in first instead of Alshon. So last time they had Alshon go in. This time they had Newman go in for that first mixed. And this makes sense to me, right? Like I think last time the idea was, okay, we'll put in Alshon as like a sacrificial lamb. They'll lose to their number 1 team. Newman will come in and clean up and just get an easy victory to take it home. But this time they're like, we're not taking any chances.
Yeah.
Newman pulled a Michael Jordan. He said, put the ball in my hands. I'm going to go finish this. And he did. So it was a really tight one. They won 24-22 in the third and came away with the victory. I do think on paper, and like if I put a bet on it, I would have put it on DC. I feel like they're the stronger team. And I'm still surprised they didn't win last time. But no, the Kawamotos, I think, are the superstars there. They only lost, I think, 1 match together between this MLP and last MLP, which is just phenomenal.
It's a strong team. Yeah,
they're really strong. And then Alshon was one of those. So he came in up from the Challenger.
Yep.
A couple events ago, and he's just been on the rise. He's been playing really well. So Alshon and Newman are actually playing together in nationals.
Yep.
So they're staying, they're keeping that partnership alive, but they seem to meld really, really well. And it's fascinating. I felt like the other partnerships Newman has not had success with. So like AJ Kohler, Julian Arnold, like those guys, AJ is just too inconsistent. I just don't feel like he can hold the right side long enough for Newman to get involved and do his thing.
He had a rough weekend too. He was in the bottom half of the.
I honestly think he's a premier player. I think he needs to get dropped. I don't think he's a premier player. Yeah, him and Thomas Wilson didn't do much together, and they're on Annalise team. And to your point, what you're talking about before, like a star can only play 50% of the time.
And I don't know if we did that live. I think we were talking about that off camera, weren't we? So, or were we? I can't remember now when we were talking about it.
We talked about it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it's to your other point about DC being the best team. I feel like that came out of what we saw in Atlanta, but preseason, I feel like all the, whatever pickleball gurus are out there, everyone was really hype on Utah. They thought Utah was going to be the team to beat.
Yeah.
They didn't even make it to the playoffs.
Yeah. It's so funny. A lot of predictions have been wrong. And I feel like it has a lot to do with just team dynamics, how
we haven't seen them all play together.
And so you just don't know until they start playing. And I think that plays a big part of it. But like the Kawamoto sisters, they know each other, right? Like they play together all the time. Like I think that obviously paid dividends. Them, knowing each other's games, and they dominated on the women's side.
Yeah. How about Sam Querrey? I mean, he dominated.
There's always room to dig on Sam Querrey. So
here's my real dig at Sam Querrey. I feel like he can't follow through. One, he told us he was going to be a top 30 player when he got into pickleball, and that's fine. He got hype and overestimated what he could do. But then he got really hype about his podcast. I think he did like 3 episodes. I haven't seen another one.
They stopped? Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think that ever made it past 3. And then he got his chance this weekend. He got pulled up through an injury.
Yeah, he replaced Patrick Smith, I think.
Yeah. And
he's playing with his buddy Wes Burrows, right?
Not only buddy, 2024 partners.
2024
solidified
partners.
On Instagram. Yeah.
Signed on Insta.
And they were combined 2 of the worst 5, like 2 of the bottom 5 players in the field.
Sam. So I caught this weekend about Sam Querrey. So Major League Pickleball put up a post of Sam Querrey just getting one. I think he took one to the chest or to the hip. It made him look really bad in the clip. Like he just didn't belong. And the caption, like this is a Major League Pickleball post, right?
Yeah,
like
their brand post.
This is their brand. And the caption was something along the lines of "Querrey for Premier. Don't worry, Sam. We didn't see this point." And so I saw it like a few seconds after it posted, and I was like, "What?" Like Major League is just digging on him like pretty hard. Like it was really funny. And then I sent it to you, and we were joking about it. And then like I don't know, we were chatting, and then a little bit later, the post I sent to you, it was like post unavailable. So they took it down. So I don't know how many people saw this post, but I couldn't believe that Major League just put that up there, and they obviously quickly took it down. But I don't know who approved that one.
No, that was the problem. No one did. Got
disapproved. Susanna said a couple of podcasts ago that they're people that work for MLP is going down. They're letting people go.
Let go 50% of the staff.
The QA process has been broken. Now it's just some intern.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Somebody just like, hey, please update the website and post some things on social media. That'd be great.
MLP's website is fantastic. I
agree.
Like it is so easy to look at scores and different pools. Anyways, the website's fantastic. They did a really good job. I followed more this weekend through the website and watched what I could, and they did. It's a really cool website. They spent some money there. Then I think the last kind of thing we want to pull out of just like news wise from MLP was the Federico altercation with
Anna Leigh.
With Anna Leigh.
Oh my
God. I think you sent this one to me.
Yeah, I feel like the only way you can see this, probably maybe it's on the YouTube stream, but if you go to memes of pickleball on Instagram, it's like this hand battle's going on, and it's it's classic hand battle. But Fed comes out on top, hits a ball to the feet of Anna Leigh, and then claps at her. He's like, take that, explicit. It's like, and then
she said, take that, bitch.
He did. Yeah.
Someone hasn't seen it.
And you see her face. She goes,
yeah, that face she makes with like all her championship photos,
Yes.
That was the face she made.
That was the face. And AJ Kohler's like, she's 16, bro. You want to say that again? I don't know what's going to come of that. Probably a little $500 fine or something.
I hope so. But yeah, that was definitely uncalled for, but kind of random. Everyone, there's a lot of jokes about it online in the comments. The players were talking back and forth on the memes of pickleball stuff.
Yes.
Anyways, go read through the comments. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, the pros of a sport, like it's like one of the, like this. It shows how this sport is in its infancy. Like I remember on Friday, I'm watching MLP, and like the players are like eating Chipotle in the crowd, Chipotle bowls, and then like you've got these pros like commenting against each other on a meme account on Instagram.
I know they're just like talking trash to each other. Like Pablo was taking hits at Kohler, I think is what I saw.
Yeah. Pablo's like, that's my partner. And then AJ's like says something back about how it was like disrespectful, and he's like, yeah, we beat you every time, man. Like it's cool.
You have no room to talk.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, it was lots of chatter about that one. I'm sure it just came out of his mouth, but it was still wasn't a good look for him. But yeah, a lot of people were blaming it. It's like, oh, the language barrier. I was like, I don't think so. He just said it.
I think he just probably in the moment, but you got to realize that one, it's a little disrespectful, and two, she's a minor, so let's take it easy.
Yeah. Not a good look.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Let's. Anything else you wanted to cover there before we jump over to Paddle Babble?
No, I'm glad my boy Callan Dawson's back. I like him for some reason.
How did he do?
Pretty good. I mean, he was like middle of the pack as far as player ranking goes. The Masters didn't do that well, but like excited to see him out there. I think he belongs.
Yeah, Challenger. I guess we didn't talk about that. So we had a repeat victory in the Challenger level. It was Klinger fought
Hard eights. Yeah,
hard eights. Yeah,
hard eights are good, and I mean the Frisco Pandas came out of nowhere. They were like dead last in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they came up and rise through the ranks.
Who were on the Pandas? It was Mick.
Yeah, you're gonna test me here. So it's Andre, Mick. It's you're killing me. Now I got to find out.
It's all right. We can pass on that. But yeah, they just kind of came out of nowhere, and they went to a Dream Breaker, and then same team won again. But yeah, we'll see if Klinger gets moved up to Premier. So last time Alshon kind of dominated the men's side for Challenger, and then he got bumped up to Premier, and now he's doing well in Premier. Obviously, just won it. But we'll see if Klinger gets moved up. A lot of people are saying that like Gabriel Tardio's the number one, male for the Challenger level, but he wasn't making it happen. And so we'll see if who gets bumped up and moved down. I guess it's not getting bumped up, moved down anymore, unless they make changes for December, but we're not sure if the December event's going to happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, really, I don't think anybody's going to make any changes to their team. I can't imagine. But I'm with you. We probably won't see this Premier and Challenger disparity, but what we will have is they still keep track of like where you were ranked in the draft, right? So what number? So that won't really change. Because you would draft the first 24 players and then you draft the next 24. So we'll see if CJ ends up making it into that top 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll see if he gets like drafted higher. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I bet he does. His stock's definitely gone up. All right. Paddle Babble. So there is
everybody's favorite segment.
Everyone's favorite segment. So Adidas, we're going to talk about Adidas.
Let's do it.
They're started advertising a new paddle. It's we'll have to throw a picture up or something because it's really unique. It has like a weight system on the throat of the paddle where, from what I've seen, I've seen a picture of the paddle and a picture of like this like tool or like some sort of like screw you use to manipulate the weights in the throat of the paddle. Almost, it's like I'm a golfer. That was kind of a fad for a while in golf where you can manipulate weights, screw things in and out. And it never really caught on big. And so I don't know if it's going to catch on here, but it is different. The thing that's interesting about this is like a technique or something that they used in padel. So Adidas is actually a pretty big brand in the padel space. And from what I understand, this is one of the more popular paddles, or I think they call them rackets, in padel, and it uses that weighting system. I know you've seen a picture of it. Like, what were your first thoughts? Like, do you think this is a gimmick, or do you think this could be cool?
All right, there's something more than just the weights that I think too should be brought up that I don't know if will be an impact or not. You can probably talk to it more than I. They're claiming that the edge guard is some sort of like carbon frame. Did you see that? Did you catch that piece in their video?
Oh no, I didn't. Is it edgeless? Does it not have?
Well, they made it look like it's got like an edge guard, but it said like carbon something.
It's probably it might be their term for like thermoformed. I bet that's what it is.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'd be interested to see that. Like everyone's doing edgeless, or they're doing just like the classic plastic edge guard. And I wonder if using different materials there matters. But we'll see.
Yeah, I bet it's edge guard that's thermoformed. Yeah, if they're saying like a carbon seam, like that's basically what thermoforming is, right? Like they have that carbon seam that connects the two face plates together.
I'll throw up like a picture of it.
Yeah,
we'll see if it's that. I don't know.
And keeps like the foam injection in there. They're probably doing that because I mean that's what sells. That's what works right now, and it's probably that's some of the best technology available. And so I imagine that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
and those paddles have edge guards for the most part.
Yeah.
Except for the new Double Black Diamond Infinity that's coming out this week.
All right, don't tease it too much. Come on. All right, hold on. I want to see another edge this time, okay?
Different corner.
6-0
they're starting to tease that on their Instagram so you can see what the edge looks like. But it's a really good looking paddle that comes out November 10th. I'll have the review ready November 10th. Been playing with it a lot. Played with it today. I got the video footage for it. So that'll be available on the 10th.
Wait, so what are you getting all the other Double Black Diamonds for? Just because they wanted to send you a new shipment?
My other ones were running just low and old, and I was like, send me more. And they were like, okay.
Perfect. Send me some too, guys.
I needed some freshies.
I bet. All right, we'll come back to that in a second because I have some thoughts on some freshies. So Adidas, however you want to say
Adidas.
it. I need to say it like that way. I feel like it's pretentious in America to be like, oh yeah, it's Adidas.
Nah,
but say it. I'm okay with the weights. I think what it's probably going to turn out to be is it's just like lead tape, but maybe this is an easier way for you to be like, do I need 3 inches of lead tape or 2 or 5? And so maybe you can add some weight there and it'll be easy just to like unscrew or screw something in and be like, oh, I kind of like that, or I don't like that. Otherwise you're like cutting the tape off, trying 2 inches, moving it around. I don't know. So that might be interesting. I think your biggest pushback to me as soon as I sent you the post was like, it doesn't seem like it's raw carbon fiber. Not sure what the face is going to be, but
yeah, I don't think the face is raw carbon, unfortunately. And it's in this kind of day and age, or like at this particular time, like raw carbon has just been proven to be the best spin production and longest lasting grit. There's nothing else that people have used that has matched it. And so they're sticking with their like aluminized facing. I don't even know what it is, but if it's the same stuff they've used on their past more expensive models, pro models, it's probably not going to be a great spin, but maybe they change it up a little bit. That'll be interesting to see, but I don't think it's raw carbon, which if it's not, I think is a miss on their part.
I wonder how those guys do with marketing. Like, have you heard of you or anybody else in the pickleball world? Have they gotten emails from Adidas saying like, hey, we'd like to send you gear so we can try to get the word out? Like,
yeah, I haven't heard anything from them yet. When they came out like 2 years ago or whatever it was, I messaged them because I was like, it's Adidas, right? Like, and so I chatted with them. I had like a meeting with them. It was actually a really cool meeting. So I chatted with one of the designers of the paddles, and he kind of walked me through their ideology and how they make their paddles different, and what they do to manipulate and get different characteristics. And it was actually really cool to kind of see their thought process and how they were making it. And I think like they have some good minds over there, like to create something cool. But paddles, like you gotta, like, yes, you want to be different, right? Like you have to have something that differentiates you, but you also have to kind of follow and use what works and what the market knows works, like raw carbon, right? Like until something better comes out, maybe this is better, but I'd be surprised like if you don't use raw carbon, like people know that works.
Let me ask you a question about that. So I sent you a post It had nothing to do with a paddle, but I saw this guy in a picture on the kitchen holding like a Wilson paddle that did not look like any of the Wilson paddles I've seen. Like it had Wilson written up the side, and it looked like a carbon face, like a raw carbon fiber face.
Yeah.
Let me just paint a scenario for you, because we're probably going to talk about Neonic in a moment, which is probably like the cheapest thermoform paddle on the market. Given Wilson's like just brand recognition, if they came out with, let's say, like a $75 thermoformed raw carbon fiber face paddle that was pretty good, and I say $75 because they probably have such buying power and manufacturing power, they could undercut most of the market just because they can buy all those materials and make it cheap. Like, can someone like that actually, could they just come out with something basic that's run of the mill? This is kind of like the standard.
It's been proven. This works.
Yeah. Do you think
they could like their copycat? I think they could do. I think they could win a specific segment of the market. I think the power of Wilson not only is like the scale, right? But like they can get into Dick's, they can get into Walmart, like these areas where, I don't know, a large chunk of players go to buy their first paddle.
Yeah.
And
or discover
the sport. Like they see a Wilson, like they're just going to buy it, right? Because it's Wilson. But like right now, that space is like I think Gamma is in a lot of retails. Selkirk's starting to get into retail. Like I know they're in like Dick's and stuff now. I don't know. I go and check Walmart every once in a while, but I like Franklin wins there a lot.
Yeah, sure.
So like there's a big chunk of the market I think they could own. But as far as like getting like the higher, kind of more educated pickleballers who are more into like the paddle scene, they'd be harder to win over, I think.
I just wonder how many players right now, like if someone has this statistic, let me know. How many players right now in the amateur world are tennis converts? Because like I was hardcore Wilson since I was like 16, 15 years old.
Yeah. What was your first paddle?
Say again?
What was your first paddle?
Oh, I bought this. It said it was carbon fiber. I bought this like $70 carbon fiber, must have been 12 millimeters thick paddle off Amazon. That was the first paddle I used.
So it wasn't like a Wilson or a Babolat or something?
You're talking about pickleball paddle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was like something off Amazon because I didn't want to buy like one of those, everybody knows what I'm talking about, one of those cheapo looking. I thought I could get out there with an all black raw carbon fiber, then get away with like looking legit without spending the money to be legit.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do that. Those paddles exist.
It was very heavy. The one I bought, I still have it. It was so
a 12 millimeter that was like 10 ounces.
Oh my gosh. It was so, yeah. And then the next, like my biggest upgrade was I went to like the Gen 1 16 millimeter carbon CRBN paddle. That's what I went with.
Yeah. And then you went to, you got a Carbon Power, right? And then you did the Filth.
Yeah. Carbon Power and then the Filth. I mean, the Carbon 1X was like my first thermoform paddle. And I don't know. I felt like it was a pretty drastic change coming off of the Gen 1.
Yeah. It is a big change. Like especially the Carbon 1, like that one was super popular because of the spin. I was more of a fan of the Carbon 2 because the Carbon 1 just wasn't crazy forgiving. And then when you go from the Carbon 1 to the Carbon 1X, it's like the sweet spot feels massive on the 1X compared to the original, plus the power and spin and stuff. But yeah, I thought that was a huge upgrade for them. And then you did the Filth. So I've been chatting with Bread and Butter more. They're sending me the Loco. I'm going to try to put together some reviews for them later in the year, but they're just cool. I like them.
Yeah, Doug's awesome.
Doug's fantastic.
So Doug went, I forgot, maybe we just ended up chatting through Instagram a long time ago. And then him and his wife did a big road trip. So he's from Florida, lives in Florida, and they went all the way up to the Beer City Open. And he has like this awesome trailer thing that he can sleep in, like a camper, but it's pretty sweet looking. He took that all the way up to Michigan and then back down the East Coast. And so he stopped and hung out here in Greenville for an afternoon and brought like a whole heap of paddles to the courts and let everybody play with them, and took some pictures and stuff like that. So cool guy.
Yeah, he's fun. And like, so their Loco, it's it looks like it's a kind of a copycat style paddle of the DBD 16 from 6.0.
Okay.
So like I imagine it's going to be a great paddle. Nothing like revolutionary. I'm sure it's gonna be super solid, but like their just marketing is just so fun. Like it's a breath of fresh air compared to a lot of stuff that's out there. Their first 1,000 paddles for the new loco, like the DVD,
It's getting hot sauce.
It's got hot sauce in it. I just think they're hilarious. And anyways, they're fun. But yeah, if get the loco, we'll get you one, Logan. We'll have to get one sent your way. I think it'll be a great paddle.
We text each other, so we'll see if he.
Doug, send Logan a paddle.
Yeah, I like their marketing a lot. It's what I told him when we talked. I was like, not that everybody's bland. It's just that
but they kind of are.
Yeah, it's like if you don't know what you want, like let's say you're just getting into the sport, it seems like a very approachable brand to be like, oh, I like to have fun. I drink a beer after I play. Like, I don't want to be that super serious guy that thinks that they're going to be a pro in a year. So I'll play with this paddle.
Yeah. I bet this loco paddle does really well. And then, but yeah, dude, that's that stuff. I think the other. So yeah, I'm releasing the 6.0 review this week.
Yeah, people want to know. People gave some feedback. They were really hoping.
Yeah,
for
a lot of
ball apes. What are you doing?
Not very many people are interested in the Lux, so I'm gonna. Yeah. I was gonna do the Selkirk Lux sooner, but based off of what people were telling me, I'm pushing that one to later in the year. So I'm gonna doing this one, and then I'm gonna try and do pickleball apes as soon as I can. And then I also got Anna Lee's new paddle. She's been playing with it for the last couple of tournaments. So this one's actually different. It's still Paddle Tech. This is like her signature. I'm not sure if they're doing like a series or if it's just a signature paddle for her. But I did get that paddle. I have it here. It's this guy. So it's got the raw carbon fiber on it. So their most recent release of paddles had like, I think they marketed as iced carbon. It wasn't raw carbon. It was something different. So this one actually has the raw carbon feel to it. I haven't seen the specs for it other places, so I don't know if they're doing the foam injection or not. It still has the exposed polymer, which is kind of unfortunate. I know the price for it. It's on the higher end. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet. They didn't really give me any details. But this is coming out this month, I think the 16th. But then it's got her logo on it and her signature. It looks pretty sharp.
All right, so man, this is like bothering me. I've been wanting to talk about it with you for like a week now. So you were nice enough to send me the Neonic paddle.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
It was really cool. I played with it. I was like, I'm kind of psyched to like at least like try some, because I don't really get free paddles very often, but it was like cool to try something out. And I was thinking to myself, the benefit of this paddle is that it's thermoform and it's one of the lower end price on the market. Like I think it's $90 or something with a code.
Yeah, you can get it $90 with the code.
So then my brain goes, I'm hitting with this and I'm comparing it to my other thermoforms, my Carbon 1X and my Filth. That's what I play with. Mm-hmm. So then I'm thinking, why did people want a thermoform paddle to begin with? And then I remember my Gen 1 was a little less of a sweet spot. You have this kind of thick, clunky handle because you have exposed polymer. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to hit harder. It's a little faster. But I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if I would recommend this paddle over the Prism Flash. And so and you brought up Anna Lee's paddle. It still has exposed polymer in the handle. That's annoying to me because I felt like now that I've felt the thermoformed handle, it's like so much better.
Like, and like I put my, like when you know it's there, you like put your thumb
into it.
Like you can't help it.
So why are brands even not, like, why are they not going that route? And two, what's the benefit of a thermoform over what Vatic's doing and what you see Rhombus doing? Like, is there any benefit to these thermoforms at this point over these other?
That's what you're asking?
Yeah, like the Vatic Prism and the Rhombus are coming to mind. They're doing what seems to be this like hybrid.
Yeah.
But why would you want to get the $90 thermoform over Prism Flash? Yeah,
so like when you hit the Neonic side by side, the Vatic Prism Flash, they're both $90. They're just different categories. So like the Prism Flash has a softer, more plush feel. It's a control paddle, excellent spin. Where the Neonic kind of has those, properties, performance abilities of a thermoform. So it's got a little more pop, a little more power from the baseline. a little more stability and things like that, like some reduced vibrations and things that you just don't quite get if it's not thermoformed. And so they're just different. Like I would call the Neonic an all court and the Prism a control. So like if you know that you want to spend around like that like $100 range and you want a little more power, like go get the Neonic. That's going to give that to you, but also has the benefit of still being lighter and maneuverable, which was one of the things I really liked about it. It's not quite as spinny as the Prism. Like I think the Neonic is spinny enough for most people, but it's not going to be quite as much as like your Filth or your Carbon 1X. But when we look at like just overall value, like the Neonic is super solid. Like for me, I like obviously I use spin, but I'm not like a super spinny player, and so the small reduction in spin. So like the RPMs for the Neonic I think it was just under, it was like mid 1700s or high 1700s RPMs, whereas like the Carbon 1X is coming in, in the 1900 range. And so it's a little reduction there, but it's still good. And for me, it didn't really hurt my game much. Like I didn't feel like I was holding me back from when I was attacking. But we were talking offline.
Remember, you're really good. You're really good. So that's the difference. Like for me, now I like it. I think everybody I let play with it, because I let like 5 people play with it too. I didn't let them know my thoughts. I just said, hey, I got this. Go play a game with it.
Yeah.
Everyone came back with the similar vibe that they felt like they lost bite on their rolls. And I just think like at our level, my level is what I mean by our, like the people I play with, we don't have as much control over our strokes. And I think you probably do. So it's probably not going to hurt your game as much, but that was just my feedback.
Yeah, like I think that's the one drawback of the Neonic. There's a lot of things I love about it. Like I like that it's quick. You get the extra juice of the thermoform without it being too heavy. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, you don't quite get as much bite. Like it's good, but it's not like top tier. But like for $90, I've been recommending it very regularly and been getting really positive feedback about it. But it's been out of stock for like a month. But if anyone's interested in it, go check it out. Neonic.com maybe. Anyways, I'll put a link in the description. But you can pick it up for $90 using the code 10effect. But I think it's just a super solid kind of mid-market paddle that is like it and the Prism Flash are the 2 paddles I recommend if someone has like $120 budget. Like those are no-brainers to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the price, if you're price sensitive, it's the way to go.
But even if you're like a higher level player, I still think it could fit your game if you want that elongated shape with a lighter swing weight. But if you're like if you play with like, I don't know, abnormal amounts of spin, or like spin is just like super big part of your game, or maybe in your situation where you just felt like it wasn't getting the bite you wanted, then yeah, you're going to have to spend a little extra, I think, to get a thermoform, maybe like a Vatic. It's only $140, so you have to spend $50 more to kind of get that bite and spin you want. But I think it was a super solid paddle, and kind of it's unique on its own despite the price. But yeah, go check that one out if you're interested. I did do a video review of that one if you want to check it out. And then last thing on Paddle Babble, or was that it? I think we hit it all.
I don't know, man. Have you seen this new paddle with a replacement face?
Oh yeah. You did send me that link. That was interesting. So this dude's on. I've seen some of his marketing he's put out. This is fascinating. So it's called Reload Pickleball. The website is pretty basic right now. It just says, sign up for my newsletter. But I've seen some of him. I've seen him talking about it, and the idea, like the name of the company is pretty interesting. Reload, meaning the idea is you can replace the facing layer. I don't know if you're replacing the core and face. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but the idea is replacing it like strings on a tennis racket, where you get refresh grit without spending $150, $200 on a paddle. So this is an idea that has come up a lot. Like people are like, oh, this is the solution for the grit, but no one's found a good solution, or like a way to actually do it. Like it sounds complicated. I don't know how they're going to do it and make it legit.
Good. I mean, in your opinion,
the idea is fascinating.
Like you were talking about your double black diamonds kind of going out, and I've heard this a bit. I think the interview with the guy Rafa or whatever who owns Gearbox was saying this. But do you feel like even if you could replace the grit, are the cores going to keep up for a long time anyway?
Yeah, on thermoform paddles, it's not going to last quite as long, but they do last longer than the grit. And they're starting to figure it out now with the cores. Like we don't see delamination near as often as we did, when they first came out. Although it still does happen. It's not like it doesn't happen, but it's definitely smaller percentages for pretty much across the board.
But outside delamination, do you ever feel like some of your paddles get a little softer?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, like between like the 6 month to a year mark, you'll start to see looser performance just from the core. Like you'll start to develop dead spots. I mean, it's a plastic. Like it's not. There's not much to it really. It's just a plastic, and it just loses some of its pop. And people who hold on to their paddles for over a year to 2 years, then when they get a fresh one, they're like, "Wow, this is amazing!
This thing's ripping."
Yeah, but yeah, they just don't last as long as some people wish. But the idea of the reload is really cool.
See what comes of it.
Yeah, and then the last segment we're going to do here is our 3.0 to 5.0. So we're going to do something a little different this time.
Ooh.
We're gonna share the screen. I found a way, like a virtual whiteboard, to make it easier to talk about these concepts. So I'm using Miro. This is like a tool I use for work, and I was like, I could do this for some coaching. So we're talking third shot drops, like strategy and drive strategy. So we're like looking at locations and like when to drive and when to drop. So we got these two smiley faces. I hope we can see my cursor, but it's these guys over here. Yeah. These guys are serving. So this guy's going to be up. So he serves. The ball comes over here. So the majority of the time, the ball is going to be kind of in this range, like the return. Yeah. So the person on the left side is the person you want to take this third. It's typically going to be their forehand. They're going to take most of the thirds. When you watch any pro event or even amateur event, you want this person to be taking most of those shots. Just because this person's backhand right here, they probably just can't quite do as much with it. So unless the ball is like returned over here, then you want this person taking the third. So if this majority of balls come down in the middle, this is where you're going to see most returns. That's not always the best place to go. We'll have another lesson today on return placement, but we're just going to say the ball gets returned here. So what does this person do? Let's talk third shot strategy first. So the safest play and the most common place you'll see, I think, at the pro level is across court to this person here. So if this person's right-handed, this is coming to their backhand, and allows this person's going to come up and apply pressure. So in this scenario, it's difficult for this person to do much with this ball. If they want to attack straight on, it's a little more difficult. We're assuming this is a good drop. We're saying this isn't a floater. It's difficult to attack here. It's higher part of the net. This person still can cover some ground over here, but most likely they have to just respect this, dink it in, boom, you're up at the net. So if the ultimate goal is just to get to the net, you want to just drop this cross court right here. Play this backhand. That's going to give you the highest percentage of getting to the net. And that's off of either side. Like even if this person's serving, like it doesn't matter who's serving, you serve here, gets returned. Even if it's returned here, this person can just drop this person running up. Yeah. And this person can apply pressure. So when this guy or gal does put the ball here, this person wants to apply pressure, but they need to protect and guard their line. So with the ball this far over, it makes this line shot more vulnerable if this person is trying to cheat to look to poach something, if they go and try to put pressure on this person. So if this person doesn't protect their line, cheats middle, you're going to get burned. So if your partner does go cross court right here, protect your line, accept this softer shot, get up to the net and do your thing. Now, if you want to put a little more pressure, so serve, return, they're coming up here. If you want to put more pressure, whoops. So this person takes the third. If they drop middle or even to the right a little bit, kind of this zone, This allows your partner to cheat middle a little bit and look for poaching opportunities. Because with the ball in the middle, if this person takes it, they can't just burn you down the line like they can if the ball's dropped in this area.
Yeah, it's a low percentage shot. They try to do that,
Yeah, and if they do go this direction, they're just going to dink it, and boom, you get to the net. But if they want to be, most people are going to try and keep this person back. So return middle, this person comes up, they're going to typically go hard at this person, which allows the opportunity for this person to cheat middle and potentially poach that. So if you want to put more pressure on your opponent, then drop middle or even straight. If this person drops straight, it's harder for this person to get involved because the ball is most likely just going to go back here and keep the pressure on your person. So dropping straight is probably not the best decision because it's easy. It's harder for your partner to get involved and put pressure. You're probably not going to be all the way to the net by the time they take this ball and they can hit something harder at you. So the best play for dropping is cross court or to the middle. And then same thing if this person ends up taking the drop, drop middle, drop cross. Same thing applies. This person needs to protect their line. If it's to the corner, if they drop middle, if you're playing the right side, my favorite place to drop is right here because this is typically this person's backhand. And it allows your partner to apply some off-ball pressure
on the forehand,
and potentially poach something. And so that's the best, I think, kind of third shot strategy. So it depends, if you're a high pressure team. I mean, obviously you want to mix it up, but for the most part, if you just want to get to the net, boom, just go cross court. If you want to be aggressive, drop middle, and go see what you can find. And
but
then,
your considerations for drive versus drop here would be, let me throw a couple scenarios out. I would imagine shorter ball, maybe drive. If they're stacking, you may want to unwind the stack and drive towards the player crashing.
Yes.
If you get a ball that's loopy and maybe comes to your waist high and you can step inside the baseline, that might be a drive opportunity. What else exists that would make you decide?
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you're good at driving the ball, like you can pretty much drive anything. Like there's not necessarily a scenario that's like do or don't drive.
But doing that takes some time away from you too, right? If you can put a good drop in and loop it, it gives you that time to get to the kitchen line to be more aggressive, right?
Yeah. So if you get a shallow return, like you said, you're going to be a little more aggressive with it. To your point, right? Like when it's a shallow return, this person who returned it is probably not going to be all the way up to the net yet. So that's an opportunity to apply some pressure there. And let's say it's a good return. It's deep, but you still you decide to drive and both opponents are at the net. This scenario, you want to just drive straight because it takes away angles from the counter.
You move the court.
Takes away angles from the counter and takes that time away from this person to react to it. If you drive cross court, they could potentially just punch it right here and get you in trouble. It gives them angles, plus they have more time to react. So it's typically best to drive straight on those if it's back. But if there's a person back, let's say, for whatever reason,
they didn't make it all the way in.
They didn't make it all the way in and they returned it over here. Like it's okay to drive. That's the only scenario when you want to drive cross court, but you do have to be careful in that scenario from this person poaching.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
So I usually won't drive here directly at them. I'll usually just hit like a firmer kind of drive drop to like this area where it's a little more difficult to handle. They're still moving and it can cause issues, but you do want to be careful of that poach, but typically drive straight unless the person is in motion, then you can find some easy points there. Any other scenarios where we think it's better to drive or drop?
Yeah, well, no, I think you hit them. I think sometimes what I struggle with is where to place the drive. So when I play some stronger players, sometimes it'll appear as if the middle's a bit open, and then basically that person on the left, their forehand just crush the ball. And then other times I try to think like if I'm going straight ahead, I'm going like I want to try to go body, thinking it makes them move their feet and try to decide, am I going backhand or am I going forehand? But I don't know if that's really the best thought process.
Yeah, as far as placement when you're going straight, I heard Anna Lee and Lee Waters that like they're known for just ripping thirds all the time. Mm. They said they typically will just drive middle or drive line. Those are kind of the two spots that they're aiming.
Okay.
And that's going to cause the least amount of issues for your team. And if you're dealing with bangers, if they do drive straight at you, just punch it straight back. Keep this person out of play. And the key to rebounding or countering these is just meeting the ball out in front of you. This is something I've been working on a lot lately, is just sticking the ball. Just put the battle out in front. Meet the ball out in front. Don't do much with it. Just punch it down, stick it. That's another reason to avoid cross-court drives. So like if you drive cross-court here and this person's coming up looking for like a little shake and bake, this person just meets the ball out in front, sticks it right here in your toast.
Yeah, right behind him.
And so that's another danger of cross-court driving.
One thing too that like I was harped on a lot playing tennis was the different ready positions. And I know like the racket position's a little different, or paddle in this case is a bit different. Like, I don't know if you have a paddle right in front of you, but how do you hold the paddle when you're at the net knowing you're playing bangers? Are you straight up and waiting to see if they go forehand or backhand to make the move? Or are you always predetermined, if I'm on the right, I'm backhand, if I'm on the left, I'm forehand?
Yeah, I'm waiting and reacting. I don't have like a predetermined. Most of the time it ends up being your backhand because you have time to kind of shift, and that's just easier to block it with that for me. But no, I take them with both depending on, where they drive it.
Okay.
What do they say in tennis?
I mean, tennis is very much like you kind of hold the racket, like as you're kind of holding the racket straight up. But I feel like you have a bit more time to react. This is just shorter court, and if you're playing someone who really can bang it at you, I've considered when I'm on the right that I don't even mess around with trying to hit a forehand. I just use I've thought about, hey, what if I just stayed backhand and I could move my feet? I could slide to the right just a little bit if they go body or sideline, and just play the backhand there. And same with the left, where I could just like play forehand and slide if I need to. But
yeah, no, that's not a bad thought, because especially if your partner is on the same page as you. So like, let's say that you return it straight or to the middle, you're working your way up. This person's driving it over here. Your partner can cheat over and cover this area. So this is your backhand. Mm-hmm. They can block any drives with their forehand. Like that can be their zone. And if you just approach the net at the, coming up the line, then you just have to worry about your backhand. And if this person drives here, your partner takes with their forehand. If they drive straight, you just have to worry about your backhand. Mm-hmm. If they do drive cross court, it's going to go out if they just rip it.
Yeah.
If they do go cross court here, like they have to hit something a little bit softer, which gives this person time to react and deal with it appropriately. But that's kind of a preview of talking about return locations. A lot of people return middle. I think it's best to return down the line for that purpose. It allows your partner to get involved and protect some area there. But we'll have to touch on that another day.
Yeah, that'd be a good one for us to touch on. It's good. Probably look at some gameplay for that too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Knowing that I wanted to talk about this today, I was watching MLP looking for scenarios like this, and there were several times where when you saw the player's movement fall in line with the strategy we were just talking about with like depending on the drop location, determined like how involved their partner could get in as far as like cheating and trying to apply off ball pressure. So like there's a lot of stuff you can do off the ball that people don't always consider, and it very much depends on the placement of the third and the quality of the third.
Yeah, that'd be great for us to look into. And I think in the meantime, I will say the shout out that Johnson Cola's content is pretty good on YouTube.
Yeah,
he
he's
put
got
a pretty
stuff.
good post up recently about like how he decides his dinking location based on where the ball comes, and
Oh,
I think
really?
he has
I'll have to watch
another
that.
good one on like how to apply pressure.
Yeah, I wish more pros would do stuff like that. I like Sincola's stuff. Tyson McGuffin does, or he has done a lot of it, but it was all like super basic. I'm not crazy about his stuff.
Yeah,
Zane,
it's all really old.
I'm
And I
not.
think it was about getting people involved in the sport.
Yeah, I'm not big on Zane's. His is okay, but I do like Sincola's.
Yeah, that was insightful. Appreciate it.
Well, that was 3-0 to 5-0, baby. It's us Nationals, where we just drop strategy to death in these people from places that we don't live.
Dude, I'm trying to get my 5-0 duper rating, and then next year we're going to take it by storm.
It'll be us. I'm a right sider, dude. You're gonna have to do the left.
I don't know. If
I've been working on my left side. I was happy with the way I played today. I was clobbering middle balls. It felt good. I've been working ever since we had that virtual lesson with James. I've been working on my kind of technique on how I counter middle balls, and it's now kind of starting to come together. And so I'm getting more of those in with a little more punch, and I'm really happy with how my left side stuff's looking.
Nice. I've been obsessed
not
with
quite there yet
ever since Susanna told me to.
Oh yeah, has it done anything?
I mean, I feel like I'm being more considerate of it. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I think I need someone there telling me, like, hey, okay, I like what you did there. You're hitting the ball in the right place. I'm still missing dinks every now and then, so I'm doing something wrong.
But yeah, you're conscious of it. It's been fun, dude. I like these little snippets and sneaks we've been getting from some of the pros. It makes a difference, dude. Just like minimal, just small adjustments go a long ways, especially once you get to like the level that you are at, where like the progression is a little slower. It's just the small tweaks that go a long ways. But yeah, dude, we ought to do something one of these days. There's 34 tournaments next year. We'll find one.
You want to go somewhere?
Let's go do it.
Let's do it. And speaking of getting folks on here, it sounds like we're going to have Andre Mick on at some point. So he just made it to Challenger finals. If you decide you want to have him, I think we could have him. See what he's got to say.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you being here. Let us know in the comments anything you have to say about, we always say something wrong. Someone always corrects us. So correct us.
We need to do what they do on ESPN, and we have to go through corrections every other episode so we can tell you what we got wrong.
Is that a thing for that?
Yeah, it's a thing on
do a segment on what we got wrong the last month.
That might be pretty good. What we get called out on.
Watch Nationals, is it going to be progressive format or something?
I'm going to send people the article today. Call me out on it.
Yeah. All right, dude. We'll see everyone later. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Logan, appreciate you, man. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Brad. See ya.